So, hey, so we are recording. Let's get this thing rolling. For those of you on Facebook, try to drop some questions in the comments. I'll try to go over there and look at them. Like I said, Savannah's not here with me right now, so I'm gonna try to do double duty here. So I'm Alex Sabio. I invest in luxury short-term rentals. I have 5 short-term rentals. I did that within a year and a half, and I got a couple more being built in the Smokies. Really excited to have our guest on. And if you guys have a question, just go ahead and hit that raise your hand function. It's going to be pretty informal here. So we have Danny Rusteen here. He's author of Optimize Your BNB. It's a book I highly recommend to every single person who's looking to get into the STR game. I've recommended it to so many people. You don't even know. It's almost like a prerequisite if you guys get a short-term rental. I've actually listened to the audiobook like 3 times now. Whenever like it's the slow season or I'm not getting any bookings, I try to go back and listen to it to see if I could do anything different to my listing. You can have really the best home on the block, and if your listing's not optimized, you're leaving a ton of money on the table. I'm gonna let you know right now. But Danny, he was actually a CPA, and he was like a early employee of Airbnb. I'd love to hear how that went, what it was like. And I always tell people where you start isn't where you're going to finish. So it's kind of interesting, you go from an Airbnb employee now writing this like instrumental book that's helped so many people. So Danny, hey, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. Why don't you tell a little bit about yourself for those of you that aren't, for those of us that aren't familiar with you.
Yeah, sure. I'll start with, I did work at Airbnb, and as a CPA, as an accountant. I was there from 2013 to 2016. And after that, though, to be honest, when I was there, I was in accounting. So I did it. I market myself as being an ex-Airbnb employee, and that is true that I was. But the thing that I don't talk about so much is that my real knowledge actually comes from Airbnb after I left. I worked for an Airbnb property management company. I started my own Airbnb property management company, which I still have now. Then I started living in Airbnbs permanently. I've done that for years. I'm around 2,000 nights. And then in 2018, I wrote what's now the best-selling book for Airbnb hosts. In fact, it's happened a few times, maybe 5 or 6, where someone recognized me from my book or from the YouTube. And it just happened yesterday. Yesterday night, I'm coming home I did an Airbnb experience. I'm coming home and into this random Airbnb in downtown Cancun. I'm not even at the hotel area. And this woman is coming at the same time, and she's like, she has that look on her face where like, she may recognize you or something. And I get this kind of often. I've been in Africa before, and someone was like, "Oh, you look familiar." And I was like, "I don't look familiar. You definitely never met me. I've never been in Africa before." So I think maybe have a familiar looking face. So I thought this was one of those situations. Oh, you look familiar. But sure enough, she recognized me. She follows me from the Instagram, and she recognizes me, and we had a chat there. So that's kind of cool. I'm like a D minus celebrity.
You're a celebrity, man. You could stay at any one of my places. I'll pay it back. If you wanna, if you're ever in the Smokies or in Gulf Shores, you're more than welcome to stay at my place. So
I appreciate that. And believe it or not, I do keep a list. I do get a lot of offers, but because I work with hosts all over the world, so I get a bunch of offers, and I do have a list. And if I am in that area, I'll at least reach out and be like, "Hey, I have an but we can get a coffee." So yeah, reach out to me later and send me the link or something. Put it on my list when I'm in that area.
So what does life look like now? I mean, you're just traveling, or are you just staying in Airbnbs? I mean, do you have a permanent residence? Or I mean, I follow you on YouTube and your what's it called, social media stuff, and I see you all over the place. What does that look like now?
Yeah, now post-COVID, that looks a little different. I've been in Colombia. I used to travel every month, 30 days. And why this is valuable is because out of any Airbnb expert out there right now, I'm the only one with as wide of a experiences as it relates to Airbnb. I see the platform from the guest side very intimately. In fact, better than anyone. I'm a couple of years ago, Airbnb was going to do like a super guest program. And I assume that would be how many nights you've been staying in Airbnb. And I must be like, I think I might be like top 100 in the whole world. So I have that experience, which basically no one has. But I used to, try the month, and I would make videos every place, every city I would go, I would make videos. Nowadays, I purchased my own Airbnb.
Okay.
I heard you say that you invest specifically in luxury rentals, which I think is a fantastic idea. It's incredible how that works. Is the more money people pay, the less complaints they get in general.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The few folks who I've rented, my place is unique because it's a 4-bedroom, and so what that can happen, it's a luxury place for sure. But what I can also get is, because it's in Colombia, you can get 4 friends who can split it one of 4 ways, and so they're not wealthy, but they want to upgrade on this trip. And so the few times where I've had that, I've gotten 5-star reviews, but they've given me complaints, and they've complained about, I sell things in the home. They've complained about things, and my concierge said they were trying to haggle him on all the prices. But anyways, I do think though luxury is the way to go. It seems to be much easier, and I've managed properties from single rooms and houses all the way to, I've also managed kind of mansion type properties. So nowadays I've been in Colombia for a year and a half, or I was in Colombia for a year and a half, staying in Airbnb, staying in the Airbnb that I bought. I stayed there for a good 3 or 4 months. Now I'm in Cancun. I took a few months to go travel in Mexico last year as well. I was looking at the market in Tulum. I decided it's probably not a good investment idea right now. And so now that's what I'm at. I'm still traveling around, making content, focusing on the YouTube. And you asked me to come on months ago, I think, and now I'm finally, and I'm so happy to see you got 36 people. That's awesome. You're running.
Yeah. It's we had to get you on because, like I said, you've influenced so many of us here. It's crazy, right? Like, just traveling around. I mean, did you envision anything like this, like when you're working at Airbnb, or did you think about like, hey, I see people's listings, like I think I could help them out and optimize them? Or is that just like that, like you said, it came after, right?
I did become, it came after for sure, but, and this is a big but, I never liked accounting. And so for me, it was like, it was a way, for me, there was, as a CPA, there was job of being a CPA, there was the company that you were working at, and then there was the team, the accounting team. And for me, it was like Airbnb was the 3rd company I worked at. They actually fired me. But in my mind, I was like, all right, I still don't like accounting, but at least I like the company. I really like the company, and the team is cool as well. But at the end of the day, that big accounting, the actual things I had to do. So I would often refer myself to company emails. Hey, we're doing this experiment on this and that. I became a host when I was working there. It was just the couch in my San Francisco apartment with 3 other roommates. But so I always had an interest, but it wasn't until after I left Airbnb that my bonus was partially based on how well that company did, the property management company did. And I was the 2nd employee. And so I was encouraged to make changes to the lagging listings. And I noticed a trend pretty quickly. I noticed a trend. So I think it was a combination of me just somehow maybe being a little bit natural at doing this, and also good with patterns and piecing things together. But it was that property management company the year after Airbnb where I realized there's definitely something here, which today, 2022, obviously makes sense. Obviously there's an algorithm, and obviously there's things you can do to better yourself in that algorithm.
So you talked about algorithms, and I listened to the book for that stuff, and I try to do a lot of those things. Can you talk about like just a lot of little things that we as hosts can do that'll help our listing?
Yeah, well, let me first tell you what you shouldn't do, because typically things are delayed, and I see this so often. I just want to save a bunch of you guys time. In the past, there were things like if you updated your calendar every day, that would give you a boost. Or if you changed your last 2 photos every day, or text every day, that no longer. I believe everybody is very secretive of their algorithm, and I don't really have any connections in Airbnb anymore, but every now and then I'll come upon I keep track. I have a list of all of the folks on the search team or somehow related to the search team at Airbnb when I come upon them on LinkedIn or whatnot. And so when they leave Airbnb or whatnot, I'll reach out and try and get some information as I can. But even to them, they basically don't know. But so these things nowadays don't really affect it. Don't waste your time on updating an individual price on your calendar. Also, you should have be connected to third-party pricing software anyways. I recommend Price Labs, which do it anyways. But some things that you can do in Airbnb, now these are things that I believe, most of them. There are, okay, we have the wish list. There's very few things that Airbnb has said, you do this and it affects your search, period. Okay. One of those things is the wish list. Okay. If you get more wish list saves, you rank higher in search. At what percentage? I don't know. It's probably like 5%. It's like, it's one of a million things. That's what Airbnb is. It's one of a million things you're doing that's going to affect your overall success. It's not changing the price in the calendar or photos or whatever.
But I think it's something real simple and free to do, right? Like we do that in our Facebook group. Like once a week, we'll try to post our listings and try to save each other's listings or whatever, right? So you're saying that helps out.
Yeah, I know that helps out. I mean, Airbnb has said that helps. So even one wish list saves helps you in the search rank for sure. It's part of what I do when I sell my Superhost and Elevate host optimizations. I'll save, part of the things that I do is I save that listing to a bunch of wish lists in Airbnb. But what I wanted to say, the overall aspect I want people to focus on is it's kind of counter to most people, and it's conversion. And this affects search. But for me, if you read on Airbnb's website, they're going to promote lots of photos, lots of angles. I'm the opposite. I save the least amount of photos, typically 10. You can go as low as 10 photos, maybe 15 to 20. The least amount of everything. And that's because simply guests aren't reading, looking at the photos, etc. So you want to, hosts are obsessed with the views. They reach out to me. My YouTube video, how do I get more views, has done one of my better videos, because that's like seems to be easy. How do I get more views? But at the end of the day, if you look at, like, for me, I don't get many views, and I don't get many views because I have a full calendar, because my conversion is high. So I can't get views because I don't have days available. So that's what I focus on. I focus on the conversion rate, and the conversion rate is simply giving the most information to the guest as quickly as possible, getting them excited. What are they buying? Your house, not your neighborhood. Not your neighborhood, because if you're selling your neighborhood, in very few instances, this is not true. But if you're selling your neighborhood, then you're also selling your competition, because everyone has the same neighborhood. Whether you're 8 minutes from the beach or 18 minutes, I'm not sure that matters so much. So sell your space.
Yeah, I struggle with that every single day, because your professional photographer will come on and she gives you like 50 great pictures, and then you might go in there and take some pictures yourself, and you're like just married to these pictures, like you're emotionally attached to them, and you struggle. You're like, oh shoot, I have like 4 pictures of the kitchen and I can't decide which one, right? And I've tried my best to like limit them, but I think I'm at, like, on VRBO they have a maximum of 50 pictures, and I just max them all out, and I have 50 pictures per listing. So you're saying, like, just cut it down.
Absolutely, cut it down. But you make a good point. You make a good point, because there's a few times, most times it's not like this, but it sounds like for you maybe. There's some houses, typically higher end houses, that have just a bunch of really good photos, and they have a bunch of cool spaces. And at the end of the day, when I'm optimizing, these are the hardest ones, because it's like, well, there's no clear winners here. But at the end of the day, you have to delete photos, because you want a high conversion rate. You want the booking. And how do you get the booking? For me, is getting the most information to the guest. If a guest sees 50 photos, they might get to, this is speculation, they might get to like 15 or 20, I don't know, maybe 25. But if a guest sees like 30 photos, or even 20 photos, if otherwise they would have got to 15, then they'll probably go the next 5. Oh, I'm almost to the end. Let's go to the next 20. So you just got an extra 5 photos viewed. But yeah, for you, I don't know your listing. I think we're going to go over some listings. We can go over yours if you want, go over the photos, because there are, some times where you just have to make those hard decisions. And for mine, If anyone wants to search right now, the Belmonte Penthouse, that's my Airbnb in Medellin. You can see what I'm talking about in terms of my title, my text, and my photos. And on top of what you just said, Alex, is I took a lot of my own photos. So talking about how you were kind of like, in love with your photos, I took my own photos, not as a professional, but I felt like I was doing a better job in some of the rooms. And so for me specifically, I even have too many photos. I think I have like 29, 4-bedroom, 4-bath. But it was really hard, and it's still hard to delete photos, which I'm like, wow, I took that photo and that's a really good photo, but I don't need it. Doesn't need to be there. Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough decision.
Yeah, I struggle with it every single day, and because you want to be able to get your point across, but are you giving them too much information? And I've looked at places like in Joshua Tree where they only give you 12 pictures, and it's kind of weird. Like you're wanting more. You're like, is that it? I mean, come on, how come they didn't leave me anything? And so I'm wondering if that's kind of a tactic that they do.
It very well could be. Joshua Tree is a very competitive market. So if something's going like really competitive, so if there's something going on there, probably pay attention to it for sure.
Right. What do you think the short-term rental market and Airbnb is heading? What are your thoughts on it? Because I've listened to you before, like when the IPO was coming out, you're like, oh man, Airbnb is probably evaluated like should be 4 times more expensive. Like we're kind of getting out of COVID here. I mean, where do you see short-term rentals going?
Yeah, that's a good point. So I do want to brag because I did make a very good prediction. Airbnb, prior to going public, I wrote an article 1 year before they went public, and I pinned their valuation at 120 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And when they went public, I think they started at like 18, and maybe they went up to 35, or maybe they even went up to 60. I'm not sure. There was a few revaluations right at the last minute. But sure enough, within that first month, they touched 120 and they stayed around like 110. Now I think they're like 90 maybe. But I didn't see anyone say that. I was the only one. So anyways, that article's still up on my personal website. But where do I see short-term rentals? I don't know. I'll talk about that point more as it relates to Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
And how it relates. This is something very new. In fact, I just posted something today on maybe you're shaking your head, you've seen it. There is and I don't, this is the thought in process for sure. So you all are hearing it first. But I feel, and you know me, I'm 100% Airbnb, 100% Airbnb. I say don't list on numerous platforms. In a few cases it makes sense, but I say generally focus on one platform, maybe open up a second for the next 30 days. But I think that Airbnb has, and I'm not sure why, but I see as a host that they have neglected a lot of the platform, and there hasn't been improvements for a long time. And so what Airbnb's done is they have created the market. Back in 2015, 16, there wasn't going to be really a competitor. There were competitors kind of, but at the end of the day, Airbnb did succeed. Nowadays, Airbnb has created the market. And what that means is they've done all the hard work, and now there's time. I think there's a opening right now, potentially, for a competitor to come in and take a lot of Airbnb's clientele. And they can do that both from guest satisfaction and from host satisfaction. I think hosts are not super happy. They're either like neutral about Airbnb. Okay, of course, there's some that are very happy, but in general, the feedback that I get, and I get a lot of feedback, is folks are either neutral about it. I list on Airbnb and a few other websites. They make me money. That's that, but a lot of people are rather sour on Airbnb. And then from the guest side, there's a lot of time. Now Airbnb is very guest friendly, but there's a lot of times on the guest side where they're also not satisfied because of the differences in the pictures and how it is actually represented, because a 4.8 or a 4.7 on Airbnb is actually not so good. It's pretty bad. But a guest wouldn't really know that. 4.7 out of 5 seems really good. So they get there and they're not satisfied. And in general, hosts just don't know what they're doing, so that the experience isn't so good. And I think that Airbnb doesn't leverage its community in terms of the power users at all. Like, for example, me as a guest, 2,000 nights. Airbnb has never once asked me like, hey, by the way, how do you like the platform? They've never asked me that. And when I say I'm the top 100 or so, it's because a few years ago, they gave out a coupon to the top like 50 or so. And they said how many nights they'd stayed there. And then I compared that to how many nights I had stayed at the time, and assuming that, so I'm right up at the top there. So anyways, I think that, so I'm personally, I'm looking at direct bookings right now. I think anyone can do this, even if you have a non-luxury regular place. This is a big change from what I used to say. So I'm thinking now it might make sense for a lot of hosts to create a simple website and create connections within their community, create connections with other vacation rental hosts within their community, create connections with businesses and organizations that bring people to the community. And if you just have a basic house, but you have a network, if you just have one house and you go to a hospital who has a bunch of patients, or a school, and say, they're not going to be that interested, because they're like, well, what if you're booked up? Like, you're just one place. But if you have a network, it makes their job easier, rather than going on Airbnb, waiting for the host to respond, etc. So that's what I've been thinking about in terms of the future of Airbnb and how to protect myself. I still don't think it makes sense to list yourself on 5 different platforms. I still don't think that makes sense.
Yeah, I've listened to some of your content. A lot of it had to do with, or recently, because Airbnb released their like new policies or whatever, where hosts can, or guests can cancel, and then make the host like pay for certain things or whatever. So I know, and I've been critical of that too, because I think it's alienating a lot of your hosts. But yeah, I have a listing here. Maybe we could take a look at a couple of these listings. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so in the chat, I dropped a couple listings here. I don't know. Are you able to click on it, Danny? Or
let me see. I'm plugging in my computer right now. The power. Let me see the chat. Okay, the chat, right?
Yeah.
But what link am I supposed to click on? I see a bunch of them.
Let's go to the first one here. Just scroll up all the way in the chat. It's by me. It's right in between Lenny and Mauricio's listing.
Let's see if I can share my screen.
You should be able to here. We have multiple participants can share simultaneously. There you go.
Okay.
Yep. So this is my friend Brian's listing. Lucky Brian, he actually just went live today. This is a home in, where is it? It's in the Florida Keys. It's in Duck Key.
And who is those?
And it's actually his first short-term rental. And actually he's listened and to your book. So he's done some of the strategies already.
Who's Rosario?
Rosario is actually his wife.
Okay. The reason why I say that is because there seems to be a booking, a trend or a correlation between men booking, having a preference for booking women's listings.
Yeah.
So you could, on one of mine specifically, I put a photo of an attractive random woman. It's a
people ask me that too, and they're like, hey, how can we put a white woman on there? And I'm like, well, that's my wife. It wasn't like intentional or anything like that.
Yeah. All right, so let's do a quick, if we'll do a few of these, then I will just talk about like one of the bigger aspects, the title, the photos, or the text. Maybe we'll start with, and then if we do 4, or if we get to 4, I can do like some, maybe
sure,
or some other random aspect. Whoa, where are we here? Where did you say this is?
It's in the Florida Keys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I really like this location too.
Let me see. I'm gonna go back here so I can. Wow. What? Huh. That's cool. Never been there. All right. So let's have a look at the photos because they look like they're professional photos. So maybe we have a problem that you were talking about where there's a lot of good photos.
Yeah. Looking at him, he has like a lot of nice photos to me. There's no hero pick like, wow, that's gonna stop me in my tracks.
Yeah, we're about to find that out. The first thing I look at is the first 5 photos. It depends on desktop and mobile. It's about 50-50, so this matters. But on desktop, this is how it looks. And you want those first 5 photos to be 5 different rooms and your 5 best photos to encourage to click. Okay, just because someone clicks on your listing doesn't mean they click on the photos. Just because they click on the photos doesn't mean they make a booking. So this is just professional photos is step 1. Step 2 is getting the layout correct. So we have 2 of the kitchen, it looks like 3 of the kitchen and 2 of the front of the house. So I would change that.
Okay.
And because there's so many, I'm gonna guess there's gonna be a lot of photos because there's only 20. Okay. I'm guessing there was more because they have 3 of the kitchen, but let's have a look here. I think it's a 2-bedroom, 2.5 baths.
Something someone told me, Danny, is you always want to have a picture of a bed in one of your top 5 photos. I mean, is there any validity to that? Because people are sleeping in an area and, you want to give them some comfort that it's going to be, a comfortable space to sleep in.
I don't know if they have data to support that. I don't have any data to support that. I think that's generally true for sure. But if you had, I can see a reason why, if you're booking like a big family friendly home, you might want to do like a picture of the big dining table, for example, with the backyard. So I would say in general, that's true for sure.
Okay.
Okay, so the front of the house here, I don't really like front of the house photos. One, it's a security thing. Now they kind of can pinpoint where your house is, especially if there's a number. But also, there's nothing really special about this.
Right.
When does the guest need this? They need this when they're checking in. They need to see what the front of the house looks like when they're checking in. Unless the front of the house looks cool, if it looks like super modern and unique, that communicates a lot more to the guest rather than just the front of the house. So this is communicating to me something that the house is modern but average.
It might be a negative too, right? Because someone will look at that, oh, that's a townhome, I don't want to stay in that.
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't want that neighbor or something like that.
Yeah. If you wouldn't want that guest anyways. If a guest doesn't want to stay in a townhouse, you wouldn't want them. So you would want to communicate that this is a townhouse. Like if that could act as a negative review. But I get what.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm assuming most people don't not want to stay in a townhouse. I don't think it's a big negative, but maybe you're more familiar with this area. All right, I wouldn't have 2 of these either. This is not useful. Even if it's a digital lock. Some hosts take pictures of the front door that's a digital lock. I don't think that's so useful anymore. No one's going to book your place for it. It is a nice to have, but depending on how many photos. If you have a very basic house and it's a studio and you can barely fill out 8 photos, then yeah, taking a photo of the digital lock makes sense. But I don't even know if this is a digital lock. I just wouldn't have 2 photos. I wouldn't have probably either of these photos, but I would have one of showing off that front porch. So we got 3 of the kitchen here. Now we don't need something of all of the angles. So this, we're seeing a door, which is unnecessary, but I prefer, okay, so none of these angles actually I love. I love a photo of just a space. This photo is mostly of the kitchen, but then you have all this distracting stuff in the background. It's kind of like a layout photo. I would have moved the camera to the left here and just taken a picture of a photo of all this so that we can see these knives here on the right a little bit better. I'm going to go through these kind of fast as well. I won't go through all my thought process.
Sure.
You see how this is this is a duplicate. So I would just do one of the dining table and one of the living room. I would delete this and just take it of the dining table. And then this one's a good one. This one could be the cover photo because we're seeing it's of a space and we're seeing something in the background.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
This is a duplicate here.
So he has to really just pick between those two, right?
Yeah, pick between these two. And I don't see anything. Which one would I pick? I might pick this one because you can see a little bit more of the TV. I would have my designer put a Netflix logo here on the TV if you had Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Indicates just a little bit more information to the guest. I notice he doesn't have any captions, which aren't necessary, but I do recommend them for at least a few of your photos. That one's kind of similar as well. Here we go with the bedroom. Looks average. If this is the same bedroom, so here's why photos captions come in handy. Like, you know, is this bedroom one? Is this also bedroom one? I think it is. Pretty sure it is. Looks like it is very much. This is a better photo because it shows the bathroom. Oh, open the curtains. A lot of people close the curtains. I think that must be a photographer suggestion, but because they typically happen in professional photos. But I would open that, show off your shower. And a really easy upgrade is adding a big, large shower head.
I have that with my photographers over there. They do a really good job, but it kind of drives me nuts. I spent a lot of money on the fixtures or whatever, and I'm showing a guest an amazing shower curtain or something like that.
Yeah. They also like to take a lot of see how much roof is here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they were trying to get a little bit of the fan in, but I noticed that as well. They do a lot of the roof. But I wouldn't take photos again because of this. These are fine. These are definitely good enough photos for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and then just one of each. I'd do this one. Makes the room look larger, more natural light. 2 windows. There's the half bath. This one needs to be moved up for sure. We're at 17, so some guests aren't going to even see this. This one needs to.
Could that be a potential cover photo, Demi?
Yeah, it could be definitely. You would look at your competition. If I think what I'm seeing is a canal here, and I think maybe everyone has a pool. So if all of your competition has a pool that looks similar, of this similar size, then it's less of a highlight because everyone has it. So it doesn't set you apart in the search page with the map on the right and the listings on the left. But this definitely is the best photo in terms of wowness that I've seen so far. What I might do in this case is I might take a twilight photo here. Wait until you're 5-6 p.m. with some purplish skies. Turn on those lights I see at the top. That could be a better photo. Maybe add some pinkish flowers here, something like some colored pop on the top of this table. But it's a professional photo. I would delete this one because this is less appealing to the eye with that big post. There's a third. Yeah, so just one of them. That's cool. All right, now what I would say for this person is another thing that they can think about adding is a neighborhood photo, which is 1 or 2 photos of your neighborhood that sells your space. It's something that the guest isn't going to easily find. It's not going to be your favorite cafe or something because everyone, that cafe is for all of your competition as well. But it's something like, if there was I see a lot of boats. So if there's like some kind of bioluminescent bay or something that you can go to at night and you have like a secret way in or something like that. And you get that information when you book my place. I had a place, I was managing an Airbnb in Muir Woods, and our neighborhood photo was a secret parking lot that you could park in and you could get access to Muir Woods by booking our place. And so we had people book our place just for that, just because they were like, oh, I don't know how much it cost to park, but it must have been enough for someone to value that neighborhood photo. So that's what I would say about the photos for this guy. They're actually way above average. They're professional, they're good angles. I would just rearrange the order and delete a few. And
what do you think about? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
And I would add a floor plan. A floor plan. Have you seen my floor plans, Alex?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good photo for all listings. It's
Do you think it's worth getting like a professional one done, or do you can just put one together yourself on one of those apps?
I've seen a whole bunch of them on different Airbnbs as a guest and other hosts who have them. I think, well, I know that I sell the best one, the most high quality one, and I think it's just easier on the eyes being able to figure out the layout. I think there's value in that. You could make one yourself if you want, but like I said, when I've seen them as a guest and whatnot, there's uh, it's okay. It's like if we're talking about the three levels that I have, it would be like level two. Oh, am I still here?
Yeah, you're still here.
Okay.
We still got you.
Yeah, so it's better than nothing for sure. I think you should have a floor plan, and if you have the budget to pay for a professional, I think that's well worth it.
What do you think about his title there? Is there anything that you would, I mean,
Yeah, I would change
the
most.
entire thing?
Yeah, townhome. If this is the cover photo, we already know it's a townhome. Waterfront is fine because we don't know it's a waterfront. Light fill is one of those adjectives like, this looks identical to your neighbor's house. So I don't know, light filled. We can tell a lot about this house, and we're going to decide if it's light filled when we get there.
Okay.
And maybe by the photos. Plunge pool, now that's cool. I would add like that first. Waterfront and plunge pool at the beginning. I would have to read the text in total, figure out and figure out what the best title should be. But
right.
The title should be whatever amenities are most attractive to the guest, and on top of that, things that just rouse the guest interest, and things like plunge pool. Okay, it's not a pool, it's a plunge pool. What is that? What does that look like?
Yeah. All right. Maybe we'll take a look at a couple more listings. Is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah. How's everyone doing? Who's tuning in? Are they getting some value?
Yep.
Let me see.
Maybe we'll just go down the line here. I'm a little selfish here because this is one of my newest listings here. It's shared by me. Are you able to click on it, Danny?
Let me share
Under the chat.
Oh, I see. We updated. We got 37 folks in here. So yeah, I guess I'm doing well. Good. Well, if anyone has any questions, yes, send it through. I'm going to open up the chat now. The second one you said?
Yeah, it says stay sunny side up. It's below that. It's there's a link that you can actually click on.
Okay, got it.
So we're kind of struggling with this listing. I think it's good. I don't know.
Oh, good. All right, you're struggling with it. So you're using a PMS.
Yes.
Which one?
Guesty for hosts.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, your title is long. That's how I know that.
People always ask me, how'd you get it so long? But
yeah, now they know.
They
know. Okay, so it's struggling. When did you start?
That's the thing. We kind of missed the season, right? The spring break. So I think we've been open for about a month now. And it's crazy because the listings that are our competitors, their pictures are garbage. They look like they took them with a Polaroid camera, and they're charging a lot more than us. So I think the thing that's hurting us is that we don't have as many reviews as them.
Reviews, yeah, definitely. Okay, so I'm going to go over to my YouTube real quick, and this is going to answer. And it is a recent video I did, which solves any problem you have. After you watch this video, you'll be able to solve it. Where is it at? Where is it at? Just let me take one. I thought it was here. Oh, bummer. All right, well, if I can't find it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Problem solved. All right, so, and I'm going to explain this right now in words, but you can watch this later on. I don't know how to, where's the chat? The chat disappeared.
I think you might have to escape because you're sharing your screen.
Oh, I see. Chat. All right. So they're all problems on Airbnb. So you said you're having problems with this. So what is the problem? So we can break down the problem by, it's one of three things. So the first thing is going to be seeing if you have a properly optimized online listing. Is your online listing looking good? Photos, text, are you a high conversion rate? Are you giving the guests what they want to know? That's number one. Number two is how is your service? How are you as a host, your customer service? That reflects itself 100% in the reviews. And then, so if those are good, so if your listing is optimized, reviews are good, then the last thing is pricing. So you can go in that order. Is my online listing good? Okay, if it's been 6 months, let me do a re-optimization. Let me change some things around. Okay, number two, how is my reviews? Now reviews, that's a long-term process. So if my reviews are not so good, and keep in mind on Airbnb, 4.99, 4.98, that's the top 1%. 4.95 is like the top 10%. 4.90 is the top 25%. 4.8 is like the top 40%. Okay, so it goes down precipitously.
It's like the Lakers. I'm a Laker fan, so we suck this year. But,
I think Kobe's,
sorry,
including Michael Jordan. I'll put my name on the line there. So you've got reviews here. So okay, so you have so those are the three things. The online listing, you can re-optimize it. The reviews, that's a long-term process. And if you have a 4.8, if you have like a 4.95 or above, I wouldn't worry about it. You're good. You can't. It's not efficient for you to work on that. So then in your case, it has to just be pricing, and it sounds like it is because it sounds like you're in slow season.
Yeah.
And one of the factors is amount of reviews. Places that have a lot of reviews are going to be ranked high on Airbnb simply because they're making Airbnb the most money.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you can tell how good you're going to be ranked. How much money are you making Airbnb? So what we can do, let's see your photos here. Let's see how many photos you got. You got 49 photos.
We love our pictures.
Yeah. And it's a 3-bedroom. I see you went in Airbnb and tested your Wi-Fi. That's good. Everyone should do that.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, by the way, you mentioned something, and I go on tangents a lot, so feel free to stop me whenever I get too confusing. But one of the ranking factors of Airbnb, I believe, is showing the system that you're a complete host. It's showing the system that you've taken the time to understand the system, to fill out as much as you can. That's why on my Instagram, when there's new sections, I post on the Instagram, fill this out. You might as well just fill this out. To communicate to the algorithm, you're an active host. You're filling things out when Airbnb is putting that out for a reason. They're not putting it out so you can't fill it out. So it makes a sense to fill it out. That's one of the things you can do. This is something they newly did. You can test your Wi-Fi, and you should do that. But I wanted to see 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Okay. So your photos, it's just no one's going to get down to, probably no one is going to scroll down this way. You can see my scroll on the right here, maybe 100% are here, maybe like 90%, 80%, 70% of your FPGs are still looking 50, 40, 30, 20. So as you get down and you have a few of the beach, which I wouldn't do at all of the beach, because someone's coming to your area, unless there's something special about it, but someone's coming to your area probably already knows there's a beach and already knows it's world-class beach if it is. If anything, I would do something like this where it shows you how close you are to the beach. Though if I click on this, if you don't have captions, this is, I don't know what do these mean?
Because it's hard to get to where to park. And so so it's kind of like, if they ask us, how do we can't find where you park, we'll say, hey, take a look at the last picture on the listing. Got you.
Okay. But here's how you can think about improving that process is think about the guest reservation process. And when in the process, which is predictable, the guest is going to come on to Airbnb and look, maybe they don't book, but they'll come back in their book. Maybe it's probably about 30 days in advance. Okay, they book and they forget about it. And then it comes closer to check-in time. Now they're like, wait a minute, how do I get in the house? How do I arrive? Where's parking? Where's check-in? Okay,
Right.
and they're at the listing and they're figuring things out. They probably have questions. So now you probably want to follow up with them, and there's after the listing. So when in the reservation process, does the guest, so I get why you put this at 49, because you understand. So you understand, part of you understands already that no one's looking at this photo. That's why you put
Right.
it.
And this is from Zillow. It was like a screenshot of, that's why the resolution's so terrible. And
Okay.
actually we're having a photographer take drone pictures soon, but he just hasn't gotten there.
Yeah, that's cool. For your specific case, I think that can help. And what I also do sometimes, oh, by the way, on that other listing, if you do have one of the front of the house, what I would do, and I can have my designer do this, I'm writing articles right now about how to take your own photos with your camera, with your phone, with your phone, not your camera, because I wasn't so impressed at all actually with the photographers that I hired. I hired 6 different photographers for the Belmonte penthouse in Medellin, partly to write this article. But I was generally unimpressed with them. I think you can do with cameras nowadays, you can do it yourself just as good if you take some time. You can, each room has different time of the day where it's gonna have the best photo. You don't, if you remodel later on or you change over furniture, you could retake the photo. So anyway, one of the things I would do is I would just highlight, if this was the photo, I would highlight this and the sky, and I would kind of gray out all the other houses. Okay, so here is this. So when the guest needs this, they need this at time of check-in. So if I was you, I would create a guidebook, which I would send to the guest 3 or 4 days before check-in, and I would make them click on that guidebook so that they could understand how useful it is. One of the things in the guidebook would be how to park, and I would include this photo, and I would include some text as well, explain.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that might be an issue we're having now. I had a guest actually today text me and she said, hey, I'm having an issue with the key. And I looked at my camera, she wasn't at the property and she showed up to the wrong property. So that's an issue we'll have to address. Not this property, a different one.
Okay, but if it was at this property, that's if it's a single family home, in the middle of nowhere, you just getting to the building and the front door is fine, it's easy. But if you have if you're in a high-rise building or a complex like this where all of them look the same, you have to get the guest to the building. That's the directions to the building, and then get the guest to the front door. That's access, and then how to get in the front door. But you need 2 separate, building and then front door. We already did the photos, but I'll just briefly look at your photo.
I actually thought about putting one of those beach photos as the top 5, but you're saying no, it's probably not helpful.
No, because you're not selling your space.
Okay.
This is anyone within a 5-kilometer area has this beach more or less.
Right.
Or sorry, I've been living out the US too long. 10 5-mile radius. Okay. Yeah, just one photo of everything. But these are professional photos. Yeah, I'm not really nitpicky about the photos, just as long as they're good, high quality photos. Even if it's with a camera, it's good. If you have a super high-end luxurious property, then you probably do need professional photos because there's some things a camera just can't do. I would probably do the angle the other way. This isn't so pleasant seeing the parking. Maybe we have another one up here. Yeah, this is a much better angle.
Right. Yeah. Maybe we'll just take that out.
Well, yeah, you should just take out most of these photos. We've got the kitchen. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with any of this, just too many.
Too many photos. Okay, we'll work on getting rid of them.
It's good to show the stairs. You don't want people that don't want to be there, handicapped folks, older folks. If you have stairs, you want to show that. Oh, we got someone raising their hand. All right, we got more of the beach. Your title, I wouldn't stylish and comfy. Again, these are just adjectives that are generic. and the
Okay.
guests will decide if it's stylish or comfy when they arrive.
Okay.
Steps to the beach, that's cool because you can't tell that. Remember, what you don't want to do is this, you don't want to communicate the same information in your cover photo as in your title. So if
Okay.
your cover photo was you showing how close you are to the beach, that doesn't make sense. But in this case,
Hmm.
cover photo makes sense. Saying there's a pool makes sense. I don't know what the hangout means, and I don't know what royal beds means. However, royal beds in this case, I think is okay because even though I don't know what it means, I kind of want to know. You should
Uh,
explain text. Like,
yeah.
is it like an upgrade to a king bed? I don't know, but it kind of gets my interest at least. That's one of the two things the title needs to do: get my interest or communicate amenities.
Yeah. I don't know either. It's just kind of one of those things.
Oh, you just put it there. It was just the moment.
Yeah. Maybe it's why I'm not getting any bookings.
No, that's a good thing. I'm saying that's a good thing. That would, you can move that to the front,
Yeah. Yeah.
get some more clicks. So I see you got some bullet points going on here. That's good. But high speed Wi-Fi. Why don't we put 84 megabytes per second?
Oh, okay.
They already see that up there, but I think that's so important for a lot of people that maybe it is most of the time you don't want to repeat yourself, but
Right.
in
Right.
it makes sense. If you have a 2-level home, I suggest you need to delete. So if I were to optimize your listing here, if I were to do my superhost optimization, I would delete like probably 85% of this text. You would just have no text after I'm done with it. Because what I would do is I would go through here and I would, let's read these first 3 paragraphs. Enjoy this. You can all read along.
Do people even read this stuff? I don't even know because I tend to put it on there just to cover myself, like, hey, it's in my listing.
Here's how it works. They do read this, and the most important guests read this because they read this when they have narrowed you down to 2, 3, 4 listings. That's when, if they don't have an answer, that's when they come in here and they're like, let me read this text. Is there anything on that splits this apartment away from the other ones? I was just in Playa del Carmen, and they are all the same. The place is built for short-term rentals. There was nothing I could tell. If I wanted to spend $100 a night, I was looking at it. I was like, all right, I'm going to splurge on this trip. It's just a week. I couldn't find any reason for me to splurge on the trip because none of the places that were $100 a night seemed at all any better than a place that was $45 a night. So that's what they do when they're at the very end of their booking process. They'll come in here and they'll read it. But if it's all of this stuff, they might not read it so much. But if it's just bullet points, but you have in some of the most important real estate up here, you're saying something that they undoubtedly already know. They already have searched for 3 bedrooms. They probably have 3 people coming or 6. Okay. So you've wasted space here telling them, repeating information that is not important enough to be repeated. Open design living room. They already know that from the photos. Photos are before text, so they already know that. Fully equipped kitchen. I put that in there too. They can kind of tell that's if they can already probably tell that based on how the kitchen looks. Private balcony, that's good because they may not have seen that photo. You have that photo way down there. Smart TV, I might say like with Netflix or whatever, 84 megabytes per second. I wouldn't even put Wi-Fi. I would just put 84 Mbps. Now, if you're booking older folks predominantly, maybe you want to put Wi-Fi, but most people kind of understand what 84 Mbps means.
Okay.
Access to complex amenities. Okay, that's important. All right, so let's read this and see. What I'm going to do is I'm looking for anything a guest important information. All right, so there's a lot of repeated information. We got 3 comfy bedrooms, fully equipped kitchen. There's nothing in here that actually I would have. Nothing in here is selling the guest. This is just kind of fluffy language. You're trying to make it a home away from home. That's cool. You can have that like in the title. Home away from home communicates a lot of information, but it better be a home away from home. You better have comfy beds, and you better have a fully equipped kitchen and be an actual home away from home. Other than that, yeah, they're going to decide if it's open, if it's an open space when they already seen the photos. Like I said, I think you have that up here too. All right, so that's that for your listing. Keep up the good reviews.
Yeah.
Oh, you're getting value. You're getting a 4.7 on value. Why is that?
I think it was spring break, so we might have been a little bit more priced a little bit higher than normal. So
Okay.
yeah, cheap guess.
Oh, you got to respond. Good for you.
Do you? Oh, that's another thing. Do you recommend responding to all those comments? I mean, someone told me, hey, it helps you in the algorithm because you're responding back.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it helps you in the algorithm, but it might. And I think more than that, it shows it's one of those things that would, I think, increase conversion because a guest is going to see this and, okay, let's see what's going on here. So there's a lot of text here and we know it's a positive review. And we know that most reviews are positive. Let's assume you have like a 4.9 and you have like 33 reviews. Guests want negative reviews. They want, where's the negative review? Okay, place is amazing, positive. Place is made positive. Great location, positive. They'll go down to find the negative. But what you can do is you can read all of this and just pick out one, typically one, maybe two things that are super cool that Sylvia said. And you can place it right here. You have 3 lines. But if you have 3 lines, let's see if you said anything. Pleasure having you. So you're just saying generic things like nice having you. Why not pick out, let's do a live example here. How about this? Cleanliness is always, I would just take this right out, put it in quotes, because a guest probably isn't reading that. You know, they're skimming it. And even how about that? So just put that in quotes. Probably one of the cleanest we've stayed at. And then, you know, just like, oh, thanks so much. You know, I'm glad you, and you know, I'm glad I'll tell my cleaner, something like that. Something like little cute response like that.
Yeah,
like,
good tip.
The review. But yes, you have to respond to all of them, 50% every now and then. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah, and that way it allows you to respond to a negative review without calling unneeded attention. A lot of hosts just respond to a negative review, and they respond lengthily, and they blame the guest.
Right.
This is also Florida, it looks like. No, where's
Alabama.
This? Alabama. Okay. All right. Should we do one?
Let's. I don't. We're running on time because we want to respect your time. I'm sure there's a bunch more other ones here. Maybe let's get a couple questions. Is that okay? Nadia had her hand up here.
Yeah. Hey guys. Hi, Danny. It's Nadia here. Thank you so much for this. This is so helpful. You mentioned earlier about taking your own photos, and so I have a property that's coming up probably in June, but my desired photographer won't be available till August. So I'm wondering what recommendations do you have for taking the photos on my own that are half decent and will get me some bookings.
That's a good question, and it's a complicated answer because there's some people, I think some people have a creative eye. These are photographers typically, and some people don't. You just give them a camera and they're going to take really bad photos. But there are some principles that you can apply. So the basic ones is you want to do it during the daytime. You want as much natural light as possible. Turn on all the lights. Take the photo about 4 feet in the air, 4 or 5 feet in the air. Don't angle it down or angle it up. Angle it straight so that the lines on the walls, all the lines, the vertical lines, are actual vertical lines. Now, what the product that I'm producing right now is where you can take your own photos and then you send me 50 photos and I will choose the best, whatever, 15 or 20, and then I'll have my designer edit those photos. And this is what professional photographers do anyways. They take the photos and then they edit them. They straighten out the lines and whatnot. But those will be the, and then also just take a photo of a room, of a space, of the dining room, of the bedroom, of the living room, not of these big layout photos. It's a complicated subject. That's the best I can do in kind of a short answer, but keep your eye out for some videos and upcoming blog posts.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Danny, you got time for a couple more questions?
Yeah, putting them on.
All right, Greg, we got Greg up. How's it going, Greg?
Hey, good, thanks. Hey, Danny, thanks for the information. Tell us about Tulum. Why do you think it's not the right place right now?
Okay. I saw your chat come in. I have a video up on my personal YouTube, Danny Boo Boo, and it goes a little bit more in depth about this. But I think that Tulum, it has a risk of being overinflated right now. And I'm not sure that's the case. I'm not sure. It could be, it could be the next great thing. But from my perspective, there's significant infrastructure issues, like real significant infrastructure issues. There is, it being in Mexico and being not in Cancun or Mexico City, it's run by gangs typically, and Tulum is run by two different gangs, and they have yet to decide who is going to be running Tulum. And so there has been issues. They're not issues at tourists, but people have been killed in tourist locations, but not foreigners. So for those reasons, the main one is I'm just not sure if it's being overhyped. I visited it personally, and I thought the thing that I like is the difference between value and what you're getting. In Medellin, I paid the value I'm getting is a lot higher than the price that I'm paying. If I wanted, my nightly rates is about $500 a night. If I wanted that nightly rate in the US, I would have to pay about 6 times the amount. That's what I look for. In Tulum, there are also very expensive rates, like very expensive. It's kind of crazy how expensive the rates are. Now that depends on how much the places actually cost. But I have a buddy down there now. He's building a bunch of villas, I think, and he had to come up to Playa because he had numerous days without like electricity or water, something like that. Crazy. These are like high-end villas, and so it's just if I was really in the scene, then I might go in there. But for me, there's too much risk and unknowns for where I'm at in the real estate game for me to take a chance there.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, how's it going, Alex? Thanks so much, Danny, for being here. First of all, I get a huge fan. Get so much value out of your content in your book, man. Thanks again. Anyways, I had like a question. Is there ever a point where you have too many reviews?
No.
Should you stop asking for more reviews?
Oh, well, when you're a new listing, then you do want to make an effort to get reviews, and you want to make an effort to follow up with the guest to get those reviews. But after, there's no limit to if you have. Okay. Are you asked? So, from a guest perspective, if a place has 100 reviews or 500, it probably doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
If it has 50 reviews as opposed to 3, that probably doesn't make a difference. In terms of Airbnb algorithm, I can assume that the more reviews, simply the better, with tailing off. The first 20 reviews, very important, from 250 to 500, probably less important, but still important. Yeah, there's no upper limit to reviews.
All right, cool. Thanks, man.
Hey, so we're running out of time here. Danny, thank you so much for your time. Can you tell people how to get a hold of you? And are there any other services that you provide? I noticed someone put your floor plan thing here that could help host out.
Yeah, you can find me all throughout the web at Optimize My Airbnb. That's principally YouTube, Instagram, and my website I spend the most time on. My book is Optimize Your Airbnb. It's a do-it-yourself kind of an idea. But I sell a whole variety of services that you can go on my website and look. The top right corner will have a yellow button, and I have the Superhost optimizations, which I'm known for, which helps you rank high in search on Airbnb. That's the Superhost optimization. Elevate Host optimization it takes it a step further, and it works on your service level side. Remember, we talked about optimizing the listing, and then how are you as a host, and then pricing. So Elevate takes all 3 of those. And then there's cheaper products as well. Superhost is very custom. I have Advanced Host and Startup Host. cheaper and less custom, but still full of information. And then a bunch of supplementary products. Like if you're a property manager, I have a property management template. I have create a digital guidebook for you, the floor plan someone sent out, and a few others. Yeah.
Hey, thank you. That's awesome. I mean, I think just getting your listing optimized with you, I mean, it pays for itself, right? With bookings and right off the bat. But yeah, guys, everyone subscribe to Danny. If you guys can, we're gonna upload this video to YouTube. Maybe if you want to help our Facebook group out, or even Danny, maybe just share those to your social network or whatever, so that way we could get more views. But hey, Danny, once again, thank you for your time. Great session here.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
Okay, guys, thank you. See you guys next week.